And welcome everyone, welcome. It's another Friday here. We're vibing. As you know, the energy of life, man, the mystic energy is always around us, surrounding us. We all take sip. We all take a sip from the essence of life and nature itself. It's always a blessing, man. Always a pleasure. We're here again, giving thanks. Giving thanks, giving praises, giving glory unto the Most High. That's why we're here. So it's always a blessing, man. Always a blessing, and we feel grateful today to hear. So welcome everybody. As you know, this is the naked truth, right? And that's what we cater. We kind of cater for is, establishing the truth, learning a certain history about ourselves. So many things, right? That's been hidden. A lot of things that's been hidden out there, and we're here to kind of shed some light on a lot of things out there. That's it's a lot of lies, man. Basically, a whole bunch of lies. So we're here today. We're not gonna take things, the way that it's been handed out to us. Basically, so this is why we have this. We kind of start this. The naked truth. This is why we came up with this idea. For the fact that, and there are a lot of people out there who are aware, of what's going on. And when I said they are aware, but they just don't have a voice. They don't have a place to really go out and speak, their truth or speak, what they know. You understand me? I talk about their experiences. So these things do exist. And we're here to kind of shed some light on that. So this is the main focus as we're here on the naked truth, as you can see, the naked truth, and that's what we're about here. That means there's no sugarcoating in anything. We're going to speak it just the way it is, talking about everything pertaining to Bible, to life, love, whatever relationship, whether it's in a private or social atmosphere. I mean, this is what we're going to talk about, and whilst doing so, we will be speaking very bluntly and truthfully about everything. So people with feelings, we're not here to cater for your feelings. So I would advise you, if this is too harsh or the truth is too much for you to swallow, then I would suggest that you don't come to this platform and watch. Don't engage in this if it's going to be that, right? So yeah, my people. So yeah, well, it's obvious, very very obvious, the things that's been hidden out there from us. And I said pertaining to the Bible. So I've been getting a lot of messages pertaining to talking about question about relationship, love, and those type of things, which we're gonna do that next week. I want to get into that. I want to talk about the basic common relationship between man and woman, and where people have gone wrong today, and how people view relationship today than it was in the ancient time. So we'll talk about that next week. Gonna be the topic, because we have done about 14 different want to say series discussing the Bible, and if the Bible is really authentic or not, right? And if the whole Bible is, pertaining to the word of the Most High. And so this is where we're at. Now we have two major religion in the world today, right? And the book speak about them in some ways, maybe, very vaguely, that you probably don't really understand what it was saying, but the book, kind of expressed this in some ways. And these two religions were warned, the Israelites were warned. So, and when I said the Israelites, is the people who are responsible for the story, or the people that the story was giving to, or the people that this information was giving to. Basically, are the people who documented their experience. So we're not talking about nations of people, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about a people that were giving, a certain rules and certain laws to live by, and they alone were living by them. Those people and their family members, they were the ones who were living by those rules. So this is what we're talking about. So everything and all things that the book is talking about pertain to the Israelites. Now, it's very sad for other people outside who now fall into this information and believe that they're inclusive to it. And as I said, the problem is, as I mentioned before, we have this low inferiority complex. This is the main problem in this society, in the world today, or what we call the world today. People don't want to accept who they are. People don't want to accept if they didn't make it, they didn't make it. Everybody fighting for supremacy. And this is a problem. This is a problem. So when we talk about the Bible, and if all the words there are correct in the book, are pertain to the Most High, no, because this is a history that was taken from a people, right, who lived a certain way. These two society cannot, mesh together. Like this, the culture of these people doesn't resonate with the culture of other people, right? Because other people have their own customs, right? Things that they do within their society, right? Some people eat different things, some people do different things, some people have different ideas about things, and this, it over time, you understand me, become standard among those people. They live by them. That's their rules. That's what they follow. That's what they believe in. You can't take that away from them. So, during these periods, everyone, or every different nation, I should say, on the planet Earth, right, had their own gods, have their own religious system, or belief system that they believe in, that they believe that their God, if they sacrifice to him, that there's something special will come. Some people sacrifice children, animals, different things. You understand me? So you have animal sacrifice, you have human sacrifice, you have all kind of sacrifice. Some people burn, herbs, so you have all different, levels of thinking. I know people thought that, their God would have, responded to them. Right? So there's a lot of things. Right? So we're talking about the Bible now, how the Bible comes in play, and how the world today is connected, and how did the information that belongs to these people ended up in the hands of other people who already had their culture and customs going. And how did they get in this information, right? So that the world now believe that this is the standard information for all people that is living on the earth. Because before, everybody had their own God. The creator that created the universe, created men, and whoever he created never communicated with these different groups of people, right? But he came at some point, and he had contact, with one group. I want to say a group with an individual, and because of the individual and this individual and his goodness, there was a promise, right? That his seed, and after him and after his seed, those of them, would be blessed because of this individual. So it was an individual, not a nation of people. It was an individual at first who was chosen, and out of him, his seeds, his children, would inherit the blessing, his blessings, right? So that's the promise, that's the covenant that was given to the Hebrew Israelites. So how did the information ended up in the hands of different culture and customs? And it doesn't resonate with other people. So even you go to India, they have their own China. Everybody have, even though them have a copy of this, right, in China as well, and in Asia and other countries where they have their different customs. Some country got rid of, their idol worshiping, what they used to practice back in those times, and start to draw more closer to the information in this book. Now they're reading this and they're connecting dots, and somehow they're looking at the story and say, "Wait, the story is amazing. The story have some validity to it, right?" So why not follow this? And believe me, people, this information was forced on a lot of people during the process of trying to extinguish the Hebrew Israelite and to convert them to this new religion, right? That was the purpose why this information even got so far. They didn't know where these people were. They had to find them. And as you go into Europe and other European countries where the conquerors went, right, you realize that these people don't take Christianity more, that much as the people who have been enslaved, right, are the descendants of the slaves. They took the religion more seriously than anybody else outside of that. So we're talking about 74%, 75% of Christians is black people in the US, right? 75 are church going, what you call Christian, are really religious beliefs, right? Have their religious beliefs and practices, right? And as I said, we're talking about when you go into Europe and Far East, not dedicated as people within the States and among Africans as well. And I'm talking about Caribbean and other places. They're more into the religion than anybody else. You have to think about this when the Bible said that Israel has been scattered to the four corners of the earth, right? Scattered among the people. So this among mean that there is other people. So the other people, why the term among was used, mean these people cannot be the ones that were chosen. Someone has to pay the price, right? Or someone have to be the one that execute the chaos and terror. However, the Most High set everything up for that to take place. That's what happens, right? These people have to treat the Israelite a certain way according to the prophecy. And then in the end, the Most High is going to come and save them and destroy their enemies and bring them back to their land where he promised, to their forefathers. Right? Now, we could talk about when you go the further out you go, away from, from where there's a lot of melanated people, you're going to find that these people don't care much about religion or God. If you talk about a lot of European and ask them about God, they don't believe. Some of them don't believe in it, right? But yet it wasn't the black person who pushed the religion, right? It's the person that pushed the religion should be more, right? More acceptance of it, right? More involved in it, but yet they're not more involved in it. So when you kind of strip this down, you have to think like, so why they're the one who push it? They should be more wholehearted into it than anybody else, but they're not. It's the people who it was forced upon is more into it than anybody else. You get what I'm saying to you? And the people that their descendants push this should have been, oh well, this is ours, this is what it is for us. But they're not in tune to it. You're talking about, as I said, 75%. Talking about 35% of people. And when I said in the US, we're talking about different ethnicity, right? We're talking about different people from different places here within the US who, a small, just a small groups, right? Or small groups of people who, believe in Christianity and who actually practice this. Then we have Islam, you know, and this, some very controversial things exist around this because everybody, as I said, had their own gods. Simple. It's very ironic when you look around and people are trying to explain to you that, you know, in their culture this is their god, and in this culture this is their god, right? It's very confusing, right? And they'll tell you that their god is the best and their god is this and their god, but yet the story, and the very story that really highlight the prophets, where most of the world even can reference to, you know, that highlight the prophets and you know, the prophetess and you know, those great men, right, that came before. These angel are encounters with angels and different, you know, celestial beings, right? The book that highlights are the people that highlight this idea, right? Everybody could look and say this is where it's coming from. Somehow in the early centuries we have Islam, right? And the information is so close, right, to the Bible, but not close enough, right? So it's close, and everybody kind of write their own story, what they think. So it's taken. So basically, the information was taken from the same scroll, right? But yet these people have a different practice, right? So, and it's a different lifestyle, it's a different dress code, it's a different. It's nothing pertaining to what the book is saying or what the Bible is saying. So now the argument is which one of them is right, right? Which one is correct? This is the whole thing. Which religion is the right one, right? The Bible tells us the Israelites shall go into Egypt again with ships. Where I speak unto you, you see it no more. It said, there you shall be sold as bondmen, bondwomen, right? It mentioned again that you shall go again, you know, in this place, this strange place, this new land, and there you shall serve God of wood and stone. So there's two things to point out right there. There you shall serve God of wood and stone. What is this wood and stone represents? You know, can we do some research? Can we analyze what this is saying and try to figure out, you know, if we can line up the Bible with what's happening today? Can we do that just to understand what is it talking about when it said God of wood and of stone? No, we can actually do that, right? So there's two things it said, wood and stone. God of wood and stone. It said there, you know, he shall serve God of wood and stone, right? Now, was he talking about, you know, literally wood, you know, the forest, or, you know, it was just a metaphor saying something? Is it talking about wood in the forest, or is it talking about a stone in the forest? What is talking about? Or it's just you know, just a phrase. It's just utter a phrase like, okay, well, there you shall do this or that, and you know, it wasn't nothing purposeful to that saying. Now, if we analyze it, then we go back, we can say the cross, the very cross that people worship, which is a symbolism of Christianity. It's a symbol of Christianity, right? The cross, which was a Roman thing, right? That they used to execute people. It's like they had the electric chair today. They use this to kill people, but because someone important died on it, they took this as, you know, something, you know, precious or something, you know, holy. So people carry it around their necks. This is a pagan symbol, by the way. People wear it around their neck, think it will ward off demon or whatever. Whatever they have it for, that's what they have it for, right? No, so we understand this part of it, the cross, is actually wood, which pertain to the religion that our ancestors practice. So when it's talk about wood and stone, God of wood and stone, what are we talking about? Is that the cross, one of them? Now, we know about the Kaaba, right, in Mecca, where everybody go there, Ramadan, whatever, and everybody march around this stone and everybody want to touch this black stone. So these are the two things that represent the very two largest religion on the planet today. So when he was saying to the Hebrew Israelites that they shall worship God of wood and stone. What were, what was it? Was it these two religion he was warning them about? These two religion that, these two religion that you're going to be a part of most, right? Now we understand, right? We understand by observation and experience, right, that there are actually most blacks, right, are descendants of slaves who become a part of Islam. We're talking about, and we're talking about Christianity, from Christianity to Islam. These are the two religions that they're most into. They're not into Hinduism or Buddhism. Just think about it. The book has never mentioned Buddhism or speak anything about anything else outside of wood and stone. And these two religions have a symbol, right, in it, right, which is the Kaaba, the black stone in Mecca. And we talk about the cross, which is a wood in Christianity. These two symbols represent these two religions, right? And it's very important in Islam, and the cross is very important in Christianity, and these people, these two religions are competing with each other to see who got the more people are, but they don't realize that the Bible have never spoken about the Israelite recruiting anyone and bringing them in. This was never the purpose. Never the purpose to bring anyone in or to recruit anyone or to let anyone become anything, because the lifestyle of the Hebrew Israelite, it's a lifestyle. That's just the natural way that the intention of the Most High would have when he created man, that they should live. This is what you do. I created you and I'm giving you rules to follow. I didn't let you go in the earth to run around wild. The other people refused to listen. They wanted to do their own thing. I left them, let them do it. Now I chose you and I'm giving you the rules, right? I created you, now I'm giving you the rules that you should live by. These very rules that I've created, so you can follow these rules, right? And you can endure in the earth, right? So I'm giving you rules to follow. And this was the difference between the Israelites and the other group of people, is that the creator, same creator that created everyone, and the same creator that chose a particular people, because the other people went astray and do whatever they wanted. So he said, I've chosen you as a special people unto myself. I have never done so with any other nation. He has never chosen anyone else. You understand what I'm saying? So this wasn't the Israelites going out to teach anyone or recruiting anyone to become an Israelite, because you cannot become an Israelite, right? Because this is a nationality, right? We're talking about a bloodline. This is the important thing when we talk about the Israelite. It has to do with blood. So it's relation, it's relatives. So it has to do with blood. So you can't just say you are one of them. You can't. You can't just say, oh, because if you're not blood connected, right? If you're not ethnically connected with these people, you cannot claim to be one of them. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the book also illustrates that you can sojourn. You say, for those of them who sojourn, right? That means you live among the Hebrew Israelites. You have to follow the rules. You also give it that whoever choose, right? It might be a nation next door who said, yo, I like the way they live in and want to come in, right? Said you can come in, but you understand me? You have to follow the rules, all of the rules that they follow. And if they are taken away in captivity, you will be going too as well. Their punishment, this is why he dealt with them a certain way, because he chose them, gave them the rules, not the other people that he didn't punish. You understand me? He gave them a rule, so when they break the rules, they are punished for it. This is why they were kicked out of the land, right? They were kicked out. They were kicked out because the law were given to them, right? So they disobeyed the law and they were punished for the law, for breaking the law, right? It's fear, right? Not the people that you didn't explain things to or give because you already know their hearts, right? But the people that you have chosen and given laws, and if they broke the law, they should be punished for it, right? And this is exactly what he did. So when he said the last sheep, we're talking about the people that lost, right, their sense of awareness, right? They've been discontinued from their heritage, right? What was given to them. They discontinued. It stopped completely. Halt. It's over. They don't remember. They can't recall. And he said to them that they'll be scattered to the four corners of the earth. Four corners of the earth, right? In the northern countries and the isles, which are the islands, right? So they're there on the islands, wherever the islands are, they're there. You're gonna find them. You're gonna find small packs, small groups of these people everywhere. And he said, wherever they are, they will be treated a certain way. So you would know who they are, right? And they will be called a byword. So you will know that they're not called a nation of people anymore. It's a byword. And you would know who they are. And the people today already know who they are, but nobody wants to say anything, right? They know who they call black and negro, these bywords. They know who they use these bywords to address. So they know, just like the scriptures said, right? It's very obvious when we begin to open the book and actually read it and understand what it's saying, what's written on the pages, and where you belong in the history. Our ancestors belong in this history. You will see it for yourself. You know, people cannot live by these things because that's not a part of their custom. It's not a part of their culture, right? How could they, live by this? This is not there. So you find that when you read the book, there's a lot of changes and people twist the information to suit themselves, those people who have the ability to do that. They keep changing the information because they want to have control of it. And because they're the ruling power, they have to make sure that the book, when you read the book as a child or an adult, you're looking to that group of people. So, so they try to sway the information a certain way or swing it a certain way where it depicts them, right? Or identify them as being the people. A lot of pastors say that the Israelites are Europeans and every other culture come out and say they're Israelites and all of these different things, but yet none of them don't have what the curses say. None of them cannot prove what the curses are or have been through the very things that the Bible speak about that the Israelite would have gone through as the blessing and the curse. Said that they will be living in a place and they will be the tail. They never said that they will be rich or they will have wealth. They will be suffering. They will be the least in the society, the least among the people wherever they are, the least among the nation wherever they are. So which people are the least among the nation and the people wherever they are? Which group of people that you know? And for the fact that you see other, people have this illusion, the fact that you see the other African countries and other groups of African people, and their country were disseminated by these conquerors or these men, these colonizers, is because they don't know who the Israelites were. Because the Bible tells you that the Israelite blended with the sons of Ham. Who's the son of Ham? Ham supposed to be the progenitor of the black race, right? According to when you read through Noah and go through, so we know who the sons are. If and the misconception about this, right? If these people blended with the sons of Ham, right? Ham's son is who? Who is Ham's sons? Ham's son is Cush, Put, Mizrahim, and Canaan, right? Canaan, that's Ham's son. That's Ham's four sons, right? These four sons populate from Ethiopia, come down to with modern day, what you know as Egypt today, right? So you have Upper Lower Egypt, right? And then you have what they call sub-Saharan area where other groups live. So these four people, these four sons populate this area. They took this area. So why the Israelites, every time they were in something, they went into Egypt? Every time something was happening. When the Messiah was born, right? When the Messiah was born and Herod seek to kill him, to kill all the firstborn, what the first thing they did? They went to Egypt. Joseph went to Egypt. They always go into Egypt because they blended with the people that living in Egypt. So of course, the demographic of Egypt, what they call Egypt today, changed, right? So, and for a purpose. They change these things for a purpose. They take these historical areas is to have your mind, when you read the book, is to think that the people that are now living there been there for thousands of years. So this is a very tricky thing that they did. So when you read the history, you'll believe that, yeah, these people are the people. You wouldn't look any other way, right? So they remove the people that were living there and replace them with European people. So you'll be looking and saying, wait a minute. So, but these are the people when you read, these are the, but when you look at the statues, and when you look at this, and they're trying to take these statues out of the museum now because it's been, it's too transparent now. So they're what they do now, they are carving statues differently with Eurocentric features, right? Putting them up and saying they can't show these statues because, what they call it, too many people come and the moisture is going to damage. So for protection, all of these lies, right? So they're hiding these things. And not only that, they did that, they broke the noses off the statues. And, you have scientists out there and you have researchers, you have who they call themselves Egyptologists who will tell you, oh, well, they don't know why they broke. Yes, you do. You know why? Because the nose doesn't represent European people. And black people have wide nose, small nose, all kinds of nose we carry. So you would have seen in the feature by the nose that it wasn't European people who have this one straight nose, this high nose. You understand me? So they had to change this. So when you see the people today that you look at in Egypt and you'd say, oh, these are the Egyptian, you'd classify them with the ancient people. They're not the ancient people. They never was the ancient people, and none of the ancient people looked like them. Do you understand what I'm saying? The Egyptians, right, are the sons of Ham. Ham is a black man, have black children, not white children or white-looking children. All of them were Negroid with Negroid hair, right? So we talk about Cush, Put, Mizrahim, Canaan, right? These are people, and the Israelites, right, who came from Shem, blended with them. Why would they blend? Because Ham, Shem, Japheth, all of those people are brothers. Ham, Shem, Japheth, they are brothers, right? And if they're brothers, it means they all looked alike the same way. Which family you go in and you see this multicolor different thing. And this is the narrative they try to push on us, for us to believe that, well, out of Noah comes Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and somehow Ham was the black race, but yet it doesn't represent the black race because the people that they put in Egypt and saying that they're the Egyptian, they're not descendants of Ham. So how could this even be, right? Secondly, they would say that Japheth, right, went into Europe, and this is where Chinese people come from, and some European people out of this, right? And then Shem now is where the Jewish people that you know today are what they call themselves Jewish, came from Shem, right? So the other group of European came out of Japheth, right? And Chinese. And then out of Shem alone, you have another white group of people that came. And out of only one of the son, then these other black people came. So I want to know if Ham was a white person, was Ham father, mother white? Because you have to think about this, right? If Ham mother and father were white and this child was born black, this had to be a special child, right? Think about that for a second. It had to be very special that two people without melanin produce a child with melanin. How crazy is that, right? How crazy is that? How crazy would that be? So this child would have to be a miracle child, right? It would have to be a miracle birth for two-person, non-melanated person to produce a child that is melanated, right? It's a miracle. So we have to go back to the origin there to figure out. So was Ham or Noah? Noah was a black man? Was he a white man? What was he? Right? This is how you're going to analyze, because if Ham was black, you must know that his two brother was the same way, right? You must understand that these three brothers were melanated, just like you're going to the neighborhood and you go see, you look around and you see three brothers or two brothers or five brothers with the same father and mother. and that's they share their mother appearance, they share their mother skin complexion, everything. Wouldn't be weird unless one of them came out with a fault, right? And they would look white, right? Which they could classify as albinoism, or whatever they want to classify that as, right? You understand? So you have to really go back to the beginning to try to understand what happened. So if they're blended, if Shem blend with the sons of Ham, it means that they were all dark-skinned, melanated people. The problem is today is how people view this history. And because the ruling power today is not black melanated people, they're white people. Hence why the narrative would have changed, why the history, the story would have changed. Wouldn't be the same, because these people wouldn't fit, right? These historical depiction of what the people were, they wouldn't fit at all. Even it mentioned in Revelation, it talk about Christ. He would sit in the middle of the seven candlestick, right? And the description, there's a description giving that his feet was, unlike like brass, that it was burned in a furnace, and his hair upon his head was pure as the wool, right? Was white and pure as wool. So we know that the woolly hair, we're talking about this description fit a certain particular group of people, right? It fit a certain group of people. So his feet was unlike to fine brass. So you can do your own research to figure out, but then you have to go back again. So if Am was dark skinned, Shem was, Japhet was as well, right? So if Shem was dark skinned, then Shem would have to produce what? Dark skinned people the same way like himself, right? Can a leopard change his spot? No. He would have to produce the very people that look like him. This would have been people who have the same resemblance, people who share the same traits, everything, right? It couldn't be someone else with a whole different look from him. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? However, this one thing happened, right? And I'm jumping ahead now, right? This one thing happened when Rebecca was pregnant, right? And they're explaining to you that there's two manner of people. Remember, they explained this particular event, right? They explained it, that there's two manner of people, right? Two different people shall be explained it to you, that there's two different people gonna come from this one woman, because this is the works of the Most High, right? He's going to divide whatever he do, right? Within his wisdom, he's going to divide two people out of this one woman. So this one woman would produce two people. Two, right? And when one of them came, one of them was ruddy, right? One was ruddy, the other one, they didn't mention his complexion. So now you have to say, well, okay, they didn't talk about this one complexion. So he probably has everything, or he probably shared appearance, melanin, and everything that the parents have. He has it. So they didn't need to describe him. But they described the one that was very odd, right? They had a different race that came out was odd, which was Esau, right? So we had Jacob and we had Esau. They explained what Esau looked like. Said he was ruddy. So according to them saying what the Hebrew language is today, right? And that red mean ruddy. Ruddy, we know what ruddy is. It's a brownish complexion, a higher complexion than really dark, chocolate, type of look. So we're talking about these people, these two persons who were brothers, right? Twin brothers, according to them, but they were different. And in the end, they would have gotten their own inheritance. Esau would have gotten his inheritance, and Jacob would have gotten his inheritance. So, but the Bible give a depiction of who Esau was. If we follow the depiction, we can align the Bible. This is how we're going to find if this thing is authentic or not, or some of the things here are authentic and some are not, is by reading with understanding and, peeling the layers apart, right? Welcome. everyone, peeling the layer apart, and we're going to find out who this child was, where this child, what they're talking about, because it seems, greetings, my brother, they're not telling us who this child is. According to, and a lot of people misinterpret this information when they talk about Esau. There are Hebrew Israelites out there. There are groups that call themselves Hebrew Israelites, are descendants of, slaves, like myself and others in the diaspora, who has called themselves, and they have called, hello, welcome. Yes, Chris, big up yourself, welcome, welcome. Trump, big up yourself, welcome. And there are people who have called, themselves the Hebrew Israelite, right? And they have their different groups or camps that they, you could join the camps and become, or just they're trying to establish themselves, knowing that they are the last tribe and they want to get back to their culture. They want to get back, to their roots. So that's what they're doing, right? Even they have the information, because I've spoken to some of them, right? And this information that they have about Esau is that Esau is a white man and Jacob was a black person. And that could be so far from the truth. That's not how it is. That's not how it is at all. Esau, the Bible explained that he was ruddy and he was hairy like a hairy garment, right? How do we know who this person is today? Because there was out of this person, remember, two manner of people. Two nation of people shall be separated from your womb. So these two individuals would be two different people that was coming into the earth. There was Jacob, which was a descendant from, right, from Joseph, come all the way down, right? So so Jacob now would have been sharing the bloodline of the promise from his father, come all the way down to, his son, to his son's son, and on and on and on and so forth, right? So we have to go, if we want to know who Esau is. Today they said Esau is the white man. That's what they say. But do they know the origin of Esau and who Esau is today? Because Esau, unlike the black population, is the largest. These two groups of people, pay attention very carefully. There's two groups of people here on the planet. That is the largest group of people on the planet, right? Because they've been here from that time, right, to this time, right? They have succeeded, right? They have overcome the Bible, and the depiction that the Bible gives about the hairy is very hairy skin, right? And that's the point, right? Who is the most hairiest set of people that you know on the planet? Who do you know that is the most hairy? And not only that, because when the Bible talk about ruddy, it's only talking about a slight complexion differently from the dark melanated people. So ruddy we're talking about, and how they show ruddy is to be a brownish type of color. So the color was high. So how do we find Esau? So not because a person is ruddy mean that they cannot produce black children. It means that they have melanin, right? The same way. They have the same melanin, the same type of melanin that the other person or the brother have. So Esau would have shared the same melanin, but there's a difference between him. He was hairy and his brother wasn't. So how do we know who they are today? It's very simple. All we have to do is to trace down to find out who is the hairy, because when a baby, have you ever seen an Indian baby? I'm talking about East Indian baby, right? Have you ever seen one? Any of you ever seen one of them when they're very young, and their whole body, almost whole body, full with hair? Have you ever seen them? That's what an Indian baby looked like, right? Very hairy. At the time when Esau was born, he was very hairy, right? So if we're gonna go back and find who Esau is, and these two different people, right? One of them have, right, strawny hair and one have curly hair. These two different people look different but share the same melanin. East Indian people, right? And the African people, who you call African today, right? These are the two people, these two manner of people that were separated from Rebecca, right? These two people that were separated from Rebecca, one of them was Negroid, dark skin, the other one was Indian, East Indian. They share the same thing. And one of them inherited that area and the other one inherited the other part. Now, so we know who Esau is today. We know exactly who Esau is, and nobody talk about them. Don't you talk where the Indian people came from? Who are these Indian, East Indian people? They share the same melanin with us, right? Why they share the same melanin with us? The only difference is that they're more hairy skinned than us, right? They're more hairy skinned than us. So we have to go back to figure out who are these people. They have you guys can look it up. There's a one of the there's a child that was born there. Here, cover its whole body, face, everything here. They are the most airiest people on the planet, the Indian people. So if we're gonna align the truth or align the scriptures, right, with modern time, which today, right, then we're gonna see if we're doing it and we're being truthful, we're gonna see who the people are today. Now, the Bible speak about, again, there are many clues exist here. The Bible speak about the Anakims, right? And the Anakims were a mighty race, right? And, the Israelites, they were very fearful. The Israelites were fearful because they were very tall. Now, we know that in the land of, right, or the cradle of civilization, let's call it that, right? We know that the shortest people and the tallest people exist there. Right? In the land where human being or life begins in that area. The shortest people, which is the pygmy, to the tallest people exist there. You'll find everyone right there because this is the cradle of civilization, right? So the Anakims were this mighty race, very tall people, right? And the Israelites were afraid of them, but the Most High, the Most High was with them. He gave them, he was always protecting them. So they would conquer their enemy no matter what. No matter what the enemy looked like or strong the enemy was, the Most High was with them. So, but they were very tall, not the average height that the Israelites encountered. They're very tall and mighty, so they call them a mighty race of people, very tall. Now, if we're gonna align the Bible again with history, with modern day and who these people are, who are the tallest people in the land that they call Africa today? There's a group of people that is called the Dinkas, right? 8 feet and up. I mean, this is their natural height, 8 feet. You could search it up. Dinkas, just in the name, Anakim, and today they're called the Dinkas, right? But in the Bible, they mention the Anakim. So when you align this, you see that these people are descendants of the same tall group of people that existed then. These mighty people. So that, when you read the Bible, there are things there. When you read with understanding, you can align these things and really see this is what the book is talking about. So you can pinpoint things around, right? According to what the Bible describes and how it describes things, if it's an historical book, right, and it is a history, right, it is a history book. It has some history in it. It's also perverted, but there are truths in it. When you read, you can align these things and come to a clearer understanding of what the truth is. So we talk about Esau, we talk about Jacob. And these two manner of people that will be separated, but they will look or share the same thing or have the same complexion, but somehow they would, in appearance, would be different. Ear texture would be different because one is hairy than the other one. And these are the two group of people that you would see. Didn't mention Chinese people, right? He didn't mention Chinese people. Chinese people are not hairy skin. Indian people, East Indian people are hairy skin. So this is where we align these people and their culture. This is why their culture is the same or similar to what the African culture is, right? Both these cultures and the population of people is always more in these area in from what they call Africa to India. The population is more. a lot more than the average group of people outside because they've been there for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. They inherited these areas. You understand me? So we're talking about a country in Africa that have 800 million. They talk about 1 billion in India, and we have 800 billion. One country. We're talking about, this is how they try to be tricky when they talk about the land. The land of what they call Africa has more people, right, than India. One country is 800 million, right? So pay attention to these numbers and how the statistic that they give you won't tell you that the majority of the people is there. They will make it seem like, oh, well, it's not enough. And they'll try to break it down as if it's different, but we know what they're trying to do. Anyways. So we talk about Esau and Jacob, East Indian people, right? And Black Negroid people that came from Joseph, right? These two groups of people got a promise. The promise was passed down to who? To Jacob. Right? And it tells you that Esau would be a hunter. People don't know that Indian people are hunters, right? You don't know. Now, how did the white man get this title that he is Esau today? How did he get it? Because as you know, as we explained before in previous videos, that when the Most High created the planet Earth, all things were created with melanin. Every single thing. Or dark skin, right? That's what melanin do to your skin. It makes your skin dark, right? If you lose melanin, just pay attention when a child is born, right? When a baby is born and we come out the womb, it's not black, it's not dark skin. It begin to change color after a while. Once the sun hit the child, and the skin begin to turn dark. So melanin exists in our skin. It's a part of who we are. It's a part of the universe. This dark matter, whatever it is within us, right? This is how the Most High created every living thing that's supposed to survive within this ecosystem were created with melanin. The fish, the ants, the bird, the dog, every single thing that you know about on the planet. Have you ever gone outside during the summertime? You see the birds flying around with feathers. They have melanin too, right? In the hot sun. The ants crawling on the hot ground. You can't even take the heat on this small thing, right? It's closer to the earth than you. I'm talking about the heat is just exhuming from the earth, right? And he's crawling on there, right? He has melanin. The fish in the sea has melanin. All of them, all living things that exist within this ecosystem have to have melanin. Do you get what I'm saying to you? The sun is the main source of light and energy for this solar system or for this universe, right? Or for the earth, right? So all of them had melanin. The Most High didn't create the people that you see today that look different. They weren't created. You understand? They were never created like this, the first. So when they show you depiction of, the prophets and they're showing you the white angel and none of these things don't exist, my friend. All the people that you read about in the ancient times are black melanated people. The problem was, all of them, they had black people, they share this disease, right, called leprosy, right? And this disease, Sandra Park, do you believe in God? Yes, we do believe in the Creator. God is just a title, but we believe in the Creator of all Creator, the gods of all gods. Yes, we believe that. We don't only believe that, we know our Creator because we exist here. So we know for sure, for certain, without a doubt in our mind, that there is. And He is our Creator who put us here, not ourselves. So yes, we do. You understand? But there are certain lies that's been told to us, right? By the people that are ruling now. If life is so simple. If you pay attention to it, you can see everything that's happening around you. It's very, very simple. People fail to recognize, and when they hear the truth, nobody wants to deal with it. You know? Nobody wants to deal with the truth. So, we're talking about the creation of the Most High, and how people, the misunderstanding or the way that we have learned things, how we have learned things, based on this indoctrination and the whatever prejudice other people have, right? Or the winners write their story, right? They could write whatever they want. They could change history, change everything. And when they standardize information that you have to follow, you can't get out of it, right? Because it's a program. You've been programmed by things. How do you get out of it? Or you think outside of this program? Because, when you was a child, you had to learn. You have to induce all of this information. Now, it's difficult for you to separate from it because you've been learning it for so long. The reference points that you're going to is set up by the same people. So they're forcing you to take information. And when you think that you find the truth, you still didn't find it. You have to go through their reference point. So they're the one who control the information. You learning this information, you think that you know what you know, but after all, when you really sit back and think, you don't know anything what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So it's very simple to understand ourselves as human beings, as people living here on this planet. And where did the other groups of people come from? Remember, we're talking about Naaman, right? Naaman speaks something, right, out of his mouth and said, well, you know what? Naaman had leprosy, right? And before I even get into Naaman, let me go elaborate more on what leprosy is, right? A black person have this. It's a condition that we have. We all have it. Even if you have light skin, this condition happens. It diminish whatever darkness or whatever dark spot you have. Black people, it's more profound than blacks because this was something that happened. So it would have stand out if you had leprosy among some people that is dark, right? Dark skin within the area where the sun is more, we call it the center of the world, right? And it's more hot there, right? You would have to know that if you'd have stand out if your complexion was different, everybody would have looked at you strange. You'd have been the elephant in the room, right? You would have been the elephant in the room. This is why the Bible mentioned leprosy so much and why the Most High used leprosy to punish the people, right? This is why when Moses' sister Miriam went against him and talked, oh, why are you going to take an Ethiopian to marry? He said, you know what? And turn her into leprous. She was white, completely white. And they kicked her out of the camp, right? They kicked her out. They didn't want her there because this was considered a curse, leprosy, right? So Naaman had it, the leprosy. Naaman had the leprosy. No, before I get into Naaman, let me get more into this first. I don't want to jump ahead too far, right? So the leprosy is when a person, melanated person, change, right? Or morphed or change into something else, becomes white. You lost your melanin, your skin becomes white. What you see, the people around you that you say are European people and other groups of people, this is what, when you lose your melanin, you look just like them. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what the leprosy is, right? If you read Genesis explains what the leprosy is. And when you read it, it tells you what it looks like and that the hair in the skin would be white. And during the process of you having leprosy, it means that you're unclean while the spots is on your body, right? Spots. But when it completely take over your body, you're no longer unclean. So during the process, you're unclean while you have spots. I know a lot of you guys have seen many black persons and probably some light-skinned person who have this discoloration in their skin. And you're going by what the society named, right? This what you'd call the skin disorder, right? You're going by this. You all are going by this. Big up yourself, Trini boy, you know? So we're all going by the narrative that we were programmed with. We're going by this program. They said, okay, well, it's a skin condition. That's what they're saying, right? Now, according to the biblical text, it's different. But modern people who feel like, well, this seems like it's talking about me. We need to change this name. So they don't say it's leprosy anymore. They said they call it a skin condition and it's a vitiligo, right? And what they show you as leprosy, right, is something that you lose your joint. This sound like something like a what you call that, not a virus but bacteria. This disease that they're showing you, a lot of pimples and people lose their, and it's mostly in India. This happens, right? And they lose their fingers and joints. This is bacteria. When you lose some part of your body or something, this has to do with bacteria. This don't have to do with diminishing your skin, changing the complexion, right? Remember what Moses did when he went to Egypt to get the Israelites out. What did he do? There was three miracles the Most High said for him to bring. Turn the rod into snake. Turn the sea into blood or wine or whatever in the blood. And he said there is one particular thing that you're going to do, and when you do this, all of the children will follow you. So when you do this miracle, the last miracle, every one of them will follow you. Say, put your hand in thy bosom and take it out, right? And his hand becomes leprous, right? Put it back and it come to his normal skin again. This is the miracle that Moses used to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. You get what I'm saying to you? So it's important to know who the people were that existed then, rather than we following these lies about who they were and these depiction in books, because the ruling society look a certain way, so they are representing themselves this way. So if they're in charge of their society, they would have printed book that depict themselves. They wouldn't show a book that depicts something else. So they would tamper with the story, or they would tamper with history and the truth. So you wouldn't know. So if the ruling power was, dark skin, you would have seen the true history about who the people were. We know this, right? So a lot of people, as I said, in the US and around the globe, you will see dark melanated people who their skins, start to have spots. This is the leprosy. Yet they changed the name of it and said it's vitiligo, right? And that's not leprosy. And then they attribute something else as leprosy. Why would they do this? Because it represents what the leprosy does. If you read the Bible, it's telling you, go to your dictionary and look up vitiligo. It's going to say the same thing what the Bible is saying about leprosy, right? It's going to explain the very same thing what the Bible is saying about leprosy, right? So it's very confusing if you don't know what the truth is. It's very confusing. So, but if you go to the dictionary and look up what the vitiligo is, it's going to tell you the same thing what Moses is saying when they had to bring the children to the priest, right? And the priest would look at your condition and they would assess it, right? They would assess your condition and tell you, well, okay, you have the leprosy or it's something else. If they're rising, right, then it's rising in the skin, and it tells you that the hair in the skin would be white, right? And this is the leprosy. This is what the leprosy is. Now, they will tell you, according to history and according to these people who are trying to control and bend the narrative to put themselves, right, in this history, who don't belong in there. When you read, you're going to know that they're not in the history, and they never was a part of this history. It's just newcomers who find this history valuable and want to change it to put themselves in it. You're going to know, right? So we understand what the leprosy is. You can take your book, your dictionary, and look up the meaning of it. You can go to Genesis, and you can look up leprosy, and you will see for yourself, right? You read in Moses when he talk about leprosy, and he's going to explain the very same definition in the Bible is the very same definition in the book about vitiligo, but yet they changed the name of it and say that, it's vitiligo instead of saying it's leprosy, because we know the leprosy to be to be a curse on the people, right? The Most High use it to punish them. Why did he use something that was valuable? So we're brothers, and according to these people, who control the information and who trying to push the information a certain way for us to accept. They're saying that Israel was like a multicultural. It wasn't just the Israelite. It was all kinds of different people. So it was white, Chinese, and everybody there, right? All of these people there, right? And we were all brothers, and the Israelites are all these different, complexion. They weren't. All of them were dark-skinned black people. Black people. There's a time within the population where someone was born, right? And just like you have your sons here, we see the evidence. There's proven evidence everywhere. You have two dark-skinned sons, and one of them come a little bit lighter. This is what happened when David was born. Why did they speak about him so much? Why did they highlight him? Because if he was the same complexion as everybody else, nobody would have said anything, right? Who would have seen? We've seen all red crayons, and then we see one lighter crayon. It would draw some attention. Like, weird. Why is his skin? It's still a little bit different from us, but we're all here. But he has melanin the same as them. But his skin was like, it would have been like mine's, or a little bit lighter than mine's, right? Or what you would call light skin or whatever it is. Light skin is not something because you mix with anyone else. Remember this. This is not because you would have this type of complexion, right? You have dark-skinned people who produce different shades of brown. So we're different shades of brown. So he would have came out a certain way, and they would say David was ruddy. And he was fair, right? He was beautiful, was ruddy, right? So this complexion is why they would have said something, because this wasn't something that they're used to seeing. And why these are the countries around within the same landmass, right, on the same continent, had something against people, what they call albino today, but they were white before. This is what they were called before, white people, right? The albino people. They call it albino today, but they were white, right? These African people thought they were cursed. Today, they believe the same thing, that these people are cursed, right? Just like the Israelites thought the same thing, and the other groups who encountered this thought that these people are accursed people. Once you don't have melanin, you don't share this, you would stand out among the people that are dark-skinned. So they were prosecuted, right? Hence, these people would have had to leave, or they would have been killed. A lot of them was killed because people didn't accept it. Nobody wanted to stay around it because I think it was very contagious to be around these people, that you might catch this thing, right? So nobody wanted to be around it. So they would have killed whoever it was, or they would have been cast out and tell them you can't stay here. Now, this is where a lot of these people who their skin would have changed, or who were born a certain way, would have leave the area. Who didn't get killed would have find a way to leave and go up where it was. Where would they go? Where it was much cooler for them to survive, because it was too hot there. Even now, today in Africa, there are albinos there. They have to wear hat, they have to wear glasses, they have to cover themselves because it's too hot there. Now, we're talking about hundreds of years and thousands of years ago when they had to migrate. What you would call a Silk Road up into Europe up there, up into the Georgia, Russia there, the Caucasus Mountain. This is where they went. And these group of people knew these routes to go there, and they would have gone there away from the heat where it's much cooler, so they could have survived there. How would they become what they are today, right? Because the book explains it again, right? And if you do DNA testing on these people in India and the people up in Europe here, you're going to find that they share the same thing, right? If you do the honest DNA, I'm talking about the lying DNA test that they're telling you that you're a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. You know, that's nonsense. I'm talking about honest DNA testing, because now they're trying to make everybody seems like we all are a part, or we share part of one another, and all of these nonsense. They were talking about honest DNA testing. You would know that the people outside, or the people in India, have a connection with the people in Europe. Because everybody had to go through there according to the map where India is, right? This is a way before you go up into Europe. India, you have to pass through there first, right? Now, when the Bible speaks about and warned Esau, said Esau should not take wives from the cave dwellers. Now, I have to get my whole Bible, right? Do not take wives from the cave dwellers. What was he talking about? Who were the cave dwellers that they were saying not to take wives from? But Esau went ahead anyway and did that. He went up, he had wife, he mixed with them the same way. Give them this new appearance. You know, it's like a Chinese guy have a baby with a white guy, right? And you see it will take traits, right? And then this child now meet back with another person, and then they create a new race. Like you take a pit bull and you mix it with a chihuahua, and then the chihuahua now have meet back with another chihuahua, and it create this new identity, right? You create this new identity. Take traits from here, put there, and then this is the mixing that happened during this era that bring these new people, right? These new people that you see, non-melanated people that you see come about. And they all share the same thing. They have no melanin. They have recessive genes. Just like the albino, recessive genes. You understand? You would find this in the land of Africa, where you see dark people with blue eyes. Why do they have blue eyes? Recessive. This is recessive. It's not original, right? That's why they have these traits. Now you have to go back into, because people don't want to hear the truth about these things because it makes them feel uncomfortable. But, my friend, and brothers and sisters, it is the truth. So when you go back into the ancient past, when you go back into the ancient past, so we're talking about, well, the recessive genes, right? With the eyes, you can lose melanin. If your eyes are naturally brown, naturally melanated, and you lose the melanin from your eyes, the color is going to change. It adapts to other colors. So you'll find this grayish color, whatever you find, you're going to see that. The same thing you would see with the albinos. The recessive genes create these different traits. You understand? It's not the same when you have when you see someone with brown eyes, right? You see somebody with blue eyes is different, recessive. All these traits are recessive. This is why you go to Africa and you see a black person, it will look very weird to you out here that why this person have, this gray type of looking bluish eye. Why? Because we could lose our melanin because we are dark skin and we have melanin, so you can lose it. See, a white person cannot lose anything because there's nothing there to lose. They don't have that to lose. See, now this is why a black person or a person that they call black, melanated person, can have a white child, produce white kids, right? They're able to do this. They're able to produce children with and without melanin. But two white person cannot produce a black child. You cannot give melanin where it's none, where there's none. So you can't do the same thing as these other people will do. So it is very, very different. But the truth is there. Nobody wants to talk about it because they're uncomfortable to talk about it. So they will change the name. They will change places. They will do all kind of things to put themselves to be. Because we're talking about superiority, right? We talk about supremacy. People want to be on top of the other. And because they're there and are ruling, they're able to manipulate the information that you're getting for you to believe and accept who they are. Now you have to ask yourself, if we were all brothers and sisters back then, and according to what their scientists and where their scholars would come out and say that, well, it was multicultural and I believe that all people were there, and really we were all there, yet the Most High, the Creator, who loved you and I, and we're brothers, and he would use your complexion to punish me. He would take your complexion, right? But this is what you look like, and he take this. He took away my melanin and I become the same thing as you that has no melanin. He used your complexion to punish me, right? How would you feel that your father, right, are using your complexion, punishing me as a punishment? How would that make you feel like, so what's wrong with me? Why are you using my complexion to punish? Because the Most High himself did not create people of what you know today call themselves white. He didn't create them. The original man that was created by him was black, and out of the original man produced black, right, offspring, and black offspring, right? But black people were often trapped with this disease that is called leprosy, and this change who we are. We lose that very thing that protect our skin from the sun and protect us from the sun. This is why these people have to use what you call suntan lotion and other things to protect them skin. And while the dark melanated person don't need this, the ants don't need it, the bird, the dog don't need it, none of these other animals don't need it, right? This is why it's very rare at times when you talk about the white rhino. When you talk about the white rhino, it's because it's what you'd call an albino rhino, right? And it's because this animal was born without melanin. Just like you have it, you can lose it. And it's rare. It's on a rare occasion that you'd find it in the animal kingdom, right? You find it rare that even within the rat, you have the white rat that don't have the same capability as the black one. You have these different things that happen at somewhere. So it's shown there's evidence everywhere that shows you that there's a change when something happened by whatever fault between the parents, right? That the child may lose some kind of lose the melanin or some defect. Something happened why they didn't get the full amount of melanin. So either within the programming, whatever it was, it happens. So we see this even within we have the roach population, right? Even within them, even within the black ants population, you find that you see a white ant sometime. Why there's a white ants among the black, and this doesn't last long, right? How would this one ant, right, that is white, right, able to produce more ants like itself? It would have to isolate itself away from the black ants, and then another ants had to be white again, would have mate with this, and then the population of that would have been all white, because melanin can only come from someone who has it. So if two non-melanated person mate, what they're going to produce? Something like themselves, right? They would produce themselves, right? They would reproduce themselves. So this is what would happen in this case. So you take a roach, but if the roach mate back with another dark skin roach, then the offspring are going to come back the same way. They're going to claim back, right, their identity through this, this one roach that has melanin. He would have claimed back their identity and they would have get back melanin. Now the mother, right, would have died, and that whiteness would have leave out of the colony or out of whatever it was, right? So, but the other roaches would have. But if these two roaches isolate themselves, this white roach, male and female, isolate from, the roach that have a melanin as melanin, then you'd have to understand that they would have produced themselves. And if they keep doing that and doing that and doing that, this would have been a population of roach different from this one. Wouldn't have the same trait as them, but came from them, right? So they would have lost something that these other roaches would have had, right? So maybe they couldn't stay in the heat as these one, or they wouldn't survive very long. So they'd have to go somewhere where it would have been, beneficiary for their survival, right? How would we survive? The heat is killing us. You understand me? So they had to go places that would have been much cooler, where they could have cooled down and feel more comfortable. And their survival would have depended on that. You understand? So this is what happened. When you talk about the white rhino, you talk about there's one white thing happened, but people rarely see it because these are rare occasions that these things might happen, right? And these rare occasions that they happen, they don't last very long because they're not very strong as the original one. They would have died out after a while. You understand? Because losing a part of your trait that the Most High gave you in the beginning when He created man, it's a huge part of what you are is gone. Right there already, I'm talking about it has a lot to do with your strength. It has a lot to do with the way that you think, everything about you. And when you lose this, it's completely gone. So melanin plays a great part in as I said, everything that was created within this ecosystem, and depend on this, the sun for light, for energy, has to have melanin. That's the source of life. So the Most High didn't make any mistakes when He was creating men, right? He didn't make any mistake. But because of men doing or what they did or what type of food or whatever you do, we're capable of losing whatever melanin we have. And we have seen this right now, today. Tomorrow you go out in the streets and you walk around, you're going to find one or two person who you see with spots on them. And it's slowly taking over, slowly taking, gradually taking, completely, they're going to become white, completely. And guess what? They don't have cure for this here. They said they'll give you treatment to slow down the process, but they don't have cure for it because only the prophets alone could return this to you. They were the only one who were capable of doing that. So, this brings us to Naaman that I was saying before. Naaman had leprosy and he went to Elijah, right? And Elijah said, okay, I'll heal you, and send him to River Jordan to dip. And that was whatever he said. So whatever miracle, spiritual things did, and Naaman was healed, right? But Elijah's servant went ahead and took money from Naaman, right? Because Elijah refused the money, didn't want no payment for what, he was curing him, he didn't need no payment. So Elijah's servant went out and took the money. And then he went back to Elijah, and Elijah said, what have you done? And because of this now, Eleazar, right? That's his name, I believe in the book. Because he took the money, now the leprosy went on him. He was punished with the leprosy and said his generation, his kids, and everybody is going to have the leprosy after him to his generation. So there's a group of people that got this curse because, and they're living today, right? Because they went against the prophet. And he went and took money from Naaman when he was warned not to do it. So he now inherited the leprosy, and his generation after that inherited the leprosy. So there's a people that inherited this, right? So we're talking about when he left in front of Elijah, he was leprous, completely white, right? He was completely white. Completely. So we understand what took place, what transpired in that time. And this time, how people are trying to manipulate the information because it's not talking about them. It's not highlighting them or putting them in the right light. So how do we change so we can be normal among the people? Because before, they look at these people as cursed. And I'm telling you this, brothers and sisters here. A lot of people, a lot of white people are European people, honest European people know this. They know that the leprosy is how they come here. That's what happened to them. No, it's not your fault because you have leprosy, you inherit something from your mother, right? It's not your fault if your mother used to eat something that she shouldn't, right? And you end up as a child eating the same thing, right? It's not your fault. It's not probably her fault either. Her mother, used to eat those things. And then you come and you eat it, it's become a food of choice for the family, right? So it's not your fault when something happened like that, but it's to know that something happened to you and how to change it. Instead of you satisfy yourself, right, with what happened to you and said, well, this is me now. I don't care. I'm just going to do whatever I want. I don't care no more. Like somebody would say, they have AIDS and what they're going to do. They don't care no more. They're going to give everybody that they want to give, right? They live recklessly. This is what's happening now. Why these people go around and they conquer and they kill. They don't care no more. Like, okay, we know we don't have any place. We're not getting any blessing in the end. So why should we even, have any type of empathy for anyone? Let's just go on a rampage, man. Let's do whatever we want. So a lot of them know. See, they won't say this to you. You understand? But a lot of them know what's going on. They know they're the result of that. They know who the original person is. They know all of these things that you think that they don't know. They're not fools. They just don't share these things with you. But they know. They're not going to put it in the book. They're not going to talk against themselves or write things against themselves. Who would do that? Who would be the ruler of a nation or nations of people and write against yourself? Saying bad things against yourself or highlighting yourself as not the strongest, you're the weakest. You wouldn't. You would, everything you do would highlight yourself as being the best, being, on top of everything. So you wouldn't think of yourself less. You understand? But for the fact that you even don't think of yourself less doesn't mean that You don't know. You know who you are, and they know. A lot of them know. The problem is now is the common people who's been misled, and their children. A lot of them who's been misled again because they're not telling their children these things either. There's a small group of them who know about this. They're not telling their kids why and what happened and why things the way they are. They're not going to say that. So we have to know when we go back to in the land where they call Africa and start to look around. When you talk about the people that are living now, to saying that they are the Egyptians and the people in the Middle East who claim that they're Arabs, and you know who the original Arabs are. You know who the language belongs to. When you talk about the Aramic language, or what you call Arabic, which is the Aramic language, which 75% of Africans speak. That's their language. The new group of people that came in there and conquered, how did these people get there? Because they weren't there before. See, these things you probably don't know either. All of those people that you call the Middle East, which England, it was in World War II when they coined this term Middle East, right? There's no such thing as no Middle East. They just call it Middle East. And then this term become, something that everybody goes go along with. Okay, the Middle East. All these people that you know there, right? They don't belong there. That's not where they're from. Most of these people are from Russia, Germany. All the people what you see and what you call Arab today, they're a mixture of different people from Europe. Do DNA testing on them, you'll see for yourself. None of them was living in those areas before. So we talk about the Ottoman Turk Empire, right? And during that time, this is when a lot of those people come there. And then we talk about the immigration of people bringing there to populate the area. That's what England did, bringing a lot of people to populate the area, just like what they did in the America during that time. Slave was a lot. They said we have to bring more people from Europe. So what they did, they set up the welfare system that you know about today, which you call welfare, food stamp, whatever it is. This was set up, FHA programs to give European people in Europe, tell them you can get land, you have house, just to bring them here, right, to populate, the new world. So they immigrate a lot of Europeans from different parts, from Germany, France, everywhere. They give them, was offering free land where you can build house and you can be on welfare, and the government is going to take care of your bill, and just to keep the white populace up there, right? So there are a lot of things that happen during that time, So they bring a lot of people in. They did it in the Caribbean as well. And then not only that, when they was in the what you call the Middle East today, Iraq and these other places, you're talking about these people, they set up breeding camps. They learned the language from who do you think? The natives people that were living there. That's how they learn the Amharic language. You understand? This is not their native tongue. They learned this from the African people by living there. How long do you think a language takes to learn? For someone to learn it, or for another person to learn it. If I go to China and have a child in China, by that child reach 15, 16, fully speaking Chinese language. I'm talking about that's just one generation, right? So just think about it. If 20 person have 20 kids, those 20 kids are already speaking Chinese language. And they could leave, and their kids, what do you think gonna happen? Their kids, second generation from their kids is going to what? Speak what? Chinese. If that's the language that they're speaking. So it's very easy to just go somewhere and you will think that, oh, these people, how did they know this? They take it over, right? It's very easy. You understand? It's very simple to erase something very fast, just going there within the space of 20 years. Just give 20 years time, or, 10, 20 years. 20 years tops. Everything changed. The whole entire demographic, the language changed. So we're talking about breeding camps. When these people begin to live in this area, and because of the extreme heat, they begin to set up breeding camps with the indigenous people. And these breeding camps was an experiment to try to white out the natives, right? A lot of you don't know that. So they would have children with the natives. Then the children now would have children back with their people, right? And it's creating this change. And you look at them, this is why you see some of them look a certain way, right? They look like they have, according to the year. When you mix with this Negroid and have this Negroid blood, you see you see the changes in your hair and certain, you see certain things, so you know. But their main feature can tell you where they're from, right? They're not a part of that populace. Looking at them, you can tell, but then they'll have this idea that say, oh, they're not white, or they're not this and they're not that. They'll say these things and say that they are this, right? How do you become, according to them, to be an Arab, right? Mean that you have to speak Arabic. That's basically it. You speak Arabic, you're Arab. Ridiculous, right? How could someone speak language and become somebody, become ethnically connected to a people, a nation of people? How do you do that? But you can't say that, because then now you're going to explain how did you learn this language and why do you say that you're these people? Because you can't. You can't do that. So this is the lie. Oh, once you speak Arabic, it means that you're Arab. No, it's not. Someone is infringing upon someone else's culture and identity. How else to explain how did you learn this? You're talking about 75 to 80% of the African, that's their language. And then these other 25 or 20% of people speak it, right? And the population of them is far lesser than the population that exists. And now they kill a lot of people out to take these areas and change the demographic. Now, we're talking about Ishmael, right? The son of Abraham, the first son. Abraham's first son, Agar, who lived in the desert, right? They live there and they wrap themselves with turbans and they keep themselves on long robes. This is their dress code. I'm talking about the melanated, real Arabs, not the one that they show you today, that they are the representation of who the people were. So now, there's a reason why the demographics change and why they highlight certain areas. See, a camera can do a lot of things, a person can come with a camera and show you a bushy area and tell you, say, this is in the Caribbean, and it's not. They could just show you, right? They could pan the camera a certain way just to capture a certain imagery, and you don't know where it is. You won't know if they don't tell you, well, it was here that I did this. So this could change a lot of things. So they could show you the different stock of people that live there. They won't show you that there are black people living there as well. They would never show you that. They won't tell you that there are black people living in Egypt either. They won't show you those things. They only show you who? The ruling power. And the ruling power is what? White. So they'll show you the ruling power. Do you understand me? But they won't show you the indigenous people in the background. Just like when you watch a movie of the extras, right? And then the camera focus on who? It only focus on the star and the main characters, right? It doesn't show you the people that make up, right? Or give the movie its appeal, right? They don't show you that. They're not the focus, right? They're just supposed to be there to make it seem like it's a real setting. But we're talking about these people. This is what we're showing you. We're directing your attention to this particular thing. So it's been a lot of manipulation that took place for this to happen, and to the extent that it is today. And for people that live within this area is to defend themselves. If you know Nasir, the president of Egypt, back in the early 70s, 74. Right, and this guy would, when the right of return, when the Jewish people were returning or going back, I want to say return, when they were going to what they call Israel today, and Nasir did a speech. You can research it yourself. He said, you left here white, you left here black and come back white, we can't accept you. So even these people know who the people are, or the original people are. So they're living in this land, and they're living in this area that was given, right, to these people. The Most I speak about this in the book, said they have separated my land and share it up in lots, right? The land that he has given to his people, and he's going to take it back from them. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So we're talking about the Ottoman Turk Empire, the Byzantine Empire, which was a black empire. And then after this, you have these people came in. When we talk about Islam, right? And who were the Mohammedans, right? Muhammad, who were Mohammedans? How did this started out? By whom? The very people that went into Spain, right? Who went into Spain and conquered Spain? It was these black men, these black Arabs who went into Spain and bring everything there, technology, university, everything into this area. We're talking about Timbuktu, Mansa Musa, and we're talking about other great civilization within the area at the time, right? And these men were trading back and forth, right? Books and other different literatures, and these were the things of that time. And these men, mathematics, all of these things, they tell you this, right? They would tell you this. Now, when these people went into the area and they took it over, just pay attention for a second. When they went into the area and they took it over, and they took whatever spoil these people have. Do you remember back in the early 50s, 60s coming up, it was in the Middle East, what you call Middle East today. They were the ones who getting Nobel Prize. They were the this of mathematics. They were this of that, all kind of thing. These were information that they were putting out that they found or that they took from the original people. And now there's no Nobel Prize again there. Why not? They run out of ideas, right? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? There's no more Nobel Prize going to these people for saying they're the ones, and they share up everything that these melanated people had. They share it among themselves and said, these are responsible for mathematics. They were the first one. They were this, they were that. But if we're going to talk about mathematics, we have to go all the way back to Noah, right? When he was measuring for the ark and he was talking about number of cubic feet and height and all of these things. If we're going back there, right? And if we're going to go back, we have to go back to the pyramid, right? We're talking about these African built, right? We're talking about the pi, the system of pi, where they're talking about it based off of the pyramid, right? So if we're going to go back there, but just to give you an idea of what they did, you know what I'm saying? To change the narrative for you to believe that these people are responsible for things when it's not so. You understand? So to go to these men went into, and Tyreek, that was the guy that led his army into Spain. And when they went there, he burned the ships because he said he's not coming back. And you have a rock there where they call it the Rock of Gibraltar. And just, you know that if you, people who know about history will know this, right? They ruled Spain for 8,000 years, for 800 years. Right? 800 years, they conquered Spain, ruled Spain for, and then this happened. They kicked out them. This is when Columbus, you know, when these European people get together, when they learn enough, got enough, and they decide to get rid of these dark-skinned people who were ruling them. They didn't want them there anymore. You understand me? So they decide to get rid of them. And they come together and kick them out. From Portuguese, everywhere they were, they kick them out. Say, yo, they got to go. Get them out. Now, if you know the history about Spain and the blackface, they would have this parade every now they do with the blackface. And they would tell you that Black Pete, this is someone they say Black Pete is going to get you. They create story, folklores out of these things. Say Black Pete is going to get you if you don't do things. So they would paint them faces black in Spain. Man, listen. But then that's another history, right? To talk about. But just to show you that these people were everywhere, right? The same Arab, dark-skinned, melanated Arab. I'm not talking about the newcomers now who try to replace or try to claim the identity of the original people. Right? They were the ones who lived in the area. They were the Ishmaelites, right? What the Bible speaks about. They could live. They were nomads. They keep traveling and move different places. And the Bible tells you that he was going to make kings and queens out of him. And this is what you have. The Sultan here and the Sultan. It was the same group of people that branch off in different sectors and inherited different areas, right? And live there. These people travel the desert because they were able to do so. They could. You had melanin. You could deal in the hot sun, walk in the hot sun. And they would wear these robes to protect themselves. You understand? From the sunstorm and different things. This is what these other groups of people come and emulate and take over. So we know who the people are. So we're talking about the inferiority complex that is playing a huge part in how information is distributed today and how people would held back on certain information because it doesn't make them feel comfortable, so they won't say it. They won't say it. But there's a lot that's happening here. When we talk about the Bible, and I'm saying society and how society functions today, what they do with the book, what they say, things that they're doing to keep the truth down. This is why we have to read this book, because even this book has been tarnished, as you know it. It's been perverted. A lot of things inside here is not true, because the ruling power doesn't see himself in the book. So he had to write himself in the book. You understand? He had to write himself in the book. So we go into if we go to where is it? 9, Genesis 9. Let me find it for you. We talk about the genealogy. Here is it. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that is written in this book. We have to really read it, and take notes. Take some real good notes of what's, because gradually this book is going to be watered down more and more and more, and soon most of the information here is going to change. Because as time goes by, they're going to try to change it, because as the people begin to wake up, right? As the more you wake up, right, is the more they're going to try to hide whatever it is that they don't want you to get a full knowledge of. Right? So, we had the genealogy, and if you read through the genealogy, you'd understand the name, right? You'd understand how the names are. And I'm trying to find the thing. I don't know this period. This Bible is a very old one. But anyway, if you go to genealogy and read it, and you're gonna explain who begot who, and and the generation of Abraham, and the generation, and so forth, so on, and it will give you a context of what the name is like, right? So this is Genesis 15:25. Right? Let me make sure. 1 second. Yeah, 15:25. I mean, sorry, Genesis 25:25. Sorry. So if you read the genealogy in this, you get it. So 25, it starts at 25. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and this is after Sarah, right? And her name was Keturah, right? And he bare him Zimran and Jokshan, right? So these are some very strange names if you don't have the thing for me, if you did them. And Medan and Medan, right? And Midian and Ishbak. So they are sons, and Shuha, right? And Jokshan begot Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Ashurim and Letushim and Lehumim. So all of these names, as you hear these names, they are, as you read through the genealogy, you can read it yourself. Zohar, you have all of these names, who begots who, and Abraham, right? And we have Jutor, back then it wasn't J, so Utor, right? You have Nafish or Nefish. You have all of these names. You have Kedema. So all of these names, right? It leave from all of this, all of these names that you read there. Do you hear those names? All of that name, right? It left, you left from there until now you have, you know, you have book of Isaiah, right? You have Jeremiah, you have Joel, you have Ezekiel, right? Just try to bear with me, right? You have Daniel, right? You have Ezra, right? You have Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, Amos, right? Mecca, Zephaniah. You have all of those names. Mark, you have all these names come back to this, right? All of the names, right? All of these names that sound so difficult to pronounce within that language that these people speak come down to some English names. So the characters and the name of these book are called Isaiah, John, Matthew, Mark, Luke. All of them have European name, right? And then the weird thing, the Messiah, his name, right, is in the what so-called New Testament is Jesus, right? Jesus. Which, the Y and the G and the I, they kind of play with that and come up with the G. So we know in the 18th century, this is when the letter G come about. So, and then they change it now. So it was Jesus in Greek, right? That's the name, Jesus. And then it changed to J. So now it's this Jesus, so-called Jesus person, right? This new person that came about somehow from wherever he came from, right? So we talk about Jesus to Jesus, right? So now none of this makes sense. And we're talking about the 14th century is when this name Jesus come about, right? It was in the 14th century when the idea of this thing come about, right? 14th century. Now we're talking about from Jesus to Jesus. So now they're saying it's a Greek name. This name is Greek. Right? Not only that the name is Greek and this person wasn't Greek, but somehow his name became Greek. Somehow the people that I've just read in Genesis 25, and the name that you're hearing, Didan and all of these names that sound more like some people in the land of Africa who have these names. Right? Just like when you go to Africa and you hear some name, Kufi and this and some name that you have to, it's very difficult for you to pronounce. And this is what the pharaohs, the names that the pharaohs shared. And people in close proximity or surrounding areas the name would have been familiar to these people because the language that they spoke probably something that they heard before or you've heard it before. So these names that you're reading about in the genealogy, who begot who, all the way back. Notice you go all the way from Abraham to some very strange name. Kedema. Who's Kedema? You understand me? This is not in the European tongue, but we talk about Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, Malachi, Daniel. We go back to these names that, are European names, right? So even though a lot of people would read the book and they try to change, say, well, the Hebrew language, so we have to pronounce it this way or that way or whatever way, right? But we're talking about this Jesus fellow came in and the name doesn't resonate either because we're talking about a person of Hebrew descent, right? Person that was born in Bethlehem, in Judea, right? In Judea, right? Or Judea, right? He was born there among his people who share a certain language. Yet all the other prophets maintain their names except him. His name changed, right? And we're talking about there might be some names, and these names are very kind of different from the other name. We're not talking about Psalms, Ecclesiastes, Joshua, and Deuteronomy, and these are names that these people use. You have some very, probably one or two names that you might, Habakkuk, right? you might find and see they have act and they have all of these different things. These are labels that they use for these scriptures, and these people who use these labels to label the scriptures are right use the name that that most represents them. So we're talking about Zachariah. If we talk about Habakkuk, now you have to start think about Habakkuk. Now this name sound like, a name from and we talk about Haggai, right? Haggai and Habakkuk. We were going to these names, we're going back into the original people, right? But then these people, how many books of Habakkuk and Haggai do you know about? Many people don't know, right? It's just a story they translate and says, okay, just put this there. But the majority and the main characters in the book name change into who? So we talk about Daniel, very important prophet, right? We talk about John, very important as well. We talk about Luke now that supposedly have an encounter with the Messiah, right? And his name is, then we talk about Matthew, right? Which is another European person, right? And we talk about Luke, which is another European person again, right? That had a relationship with the Messiah. So, when we go back into the book, the very important characters, their name is not name relating to the indigenous people or to the ancient people, but some modern day people. So you see, this is how they change things to switch it over, right? And change history and time and everything just to fit themselves into these things, right? So we're talking about the Bible and how authentic the word is, and if every word here is the word of the Most High. And as we can conclude that it's not. It is not. And we've been doing different videos about this for a while now, right? We've been doing this for a while now, trying to, highlight some things and figure out what took place, what happened, how could things change, and how we're going to change them. And, not to allow our children to grow up and we end up leaving this earth without knowing what's happening. And we're unable to educate our kids and teach them what's right, so they could know, at least they could have a chance to redeem themselves from what's taking place. So it's good to go out, and it's good to do your research. It's good to study and to understand and to question things around you. Because what you think you're living that is truthful is surely not. It's a huge lie. It's a huge lie. So we have to fix ourselves and the way that we think about life and about, even our friends, our family, relatives, neighbors, whoever, we have to think about them as well. Because together, we could make this change. And not only one individual, but if everybody know this, then it becomes something normal among people. This is something that you would know, I would know, the kids would know. It become like learning a language. You're born in this area and you're learning from the people as you grow up. As you live among these people, you start to hear these things as a child. You're learning to communicate. You're learning the new words and everything. It's just, the information is just coming to you. So this is what we have to do. My people out there, go out, do your research. You don't have to take my word for everything. You can do your due diligence, right? You can do your research and figure out and question things and try to ask some questions around and reading this book, trying to put the pieces together, because everything is scattered all over the place. As you know, I told you before, it was no Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, none of these things. It wasn't like that. And the full stop, the commas, the quotation mark, it wasn't none of these things on the scrolls. These men who translate this had to put, the words in some form of a story, right? So they had to change things. So you have to understand that. So it's different. It's very different how we see things. So my people, you have to, go out. As I said, the Israelites and the children of Israel, they're scattered among the nation, and they are no longer the head. because they're under the curse now of what you call Deuteronomy 28 through 68. They're under that curse. And because of this curse, they will be failing in a lot of things. They will be treated a certain way, among the people and by other groups, by other nations, right? They would be the least among the people, right? Everybody would look down on them, as you can see for yourself. Deuteronomy 28 to 68, I implore you guys to go and read it for yourself and understand and see whether or not you fit any of these curses, or your grandmother or your great grandmother before, any stories that you know of what happened to you. The transatlantic slave trade, what happened then, what took place, how many people died, what they did to force our people to become Christians, how Christians become the normal way of religion. I want to say religion, and a lot of black people partake in it willingly. Some of us inherited this, some of us partake willingly because a lot of us are seeking for spirituality and don't know where to go or how to obtain this. And a lot of us think that the church is the way to do so. So a lot of us would go to the church. We're seeking for something because something is missing from our lives. Something is missing. What's missing that we're looking for, but we rather settle for anything without doing proper research and understanding what we're getting involved in. So most of us go to the church thinking that that's a place for salvation and that you're going to learn there. Not thinking that the church is under the umbrella of the government, right? And these pastors had to go to school and learn and get a license before they could go here and do any type of work. And that these pastors cannot tell you the complete truth about what's happening, right? They're just there to make their 10% and take care of their family and live lavish lifestyle, and you, while you suffer and you take all your odd earnings and give to them. So you have to go back. You want it. You want to know the truth. You want to know what's going on. This is not the place to go to learn that. People, we have to come together. We have to call meetings and meet up places and sit down and discuss things and ask questions and, come to some conclusion, find the truth, because the truth is there. The church that exists within the society is a part of what the society is. It helps to promote, to maintain and sustain the society, to keep the people in order. Right? The church is not solely by itself. Right? Rome is behind this. Do you know that the Pope in Rome can call America and tell him to free a prisoner if he chooses to do so? Do you know that? And America had to listen to them. Why? Do you understand? Do you understand the power that this person have? So my people, I implore you guys, man, we have to wake up. If you're still asleep, by now in this age and time, and in this age of information where things are accessible and the world is connected by this thing called internet, and now you have to find your way. You got to find your way, man. Find the truth. Read the Bible, and remember, this book has been watered down. Try to get the wholest version that you can get, because you will understand when you compare to the new one that they're changing it very fast. Soon you're not gonna have certain information that you have here anymore. Because as a generation begin to wake up, they're trying to hide more information for you not to wake up. So they want you to wake up because, as I said, delaying the inevitable for them to keep ruling is to keep the Israelites in darkness so that you won't find your way. Because if the real Israelites are awakened, it means that there's no more ruling power in the world anymore. It means that they're bringing in the Messianic age. It means the Messiah is coming. And when he comes, there's no more ruling power that you know today, Russia or Germany or China, all of these places that you know. No more of those places will be talking about there anywhere ruling anyone. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? This is why it's important that they have to keep certain information away from these people so that they are sleeping. Once they're awakened and serving their creator, that's it. He's coming to deliver them and bring them back to where he promised them. the land of milk and honey, what he called the milk and honey, and bring them back to their land. And there they shall serve the Most High eternally. So the Most High is waiting for that day as prophecy is unfolding, and our people have to learn the truth about themselves and begin to wake up and understand who you are, right? Knowing who you are, not just, oh, yeah, no, we're the last tribe, but what do you do now? What do you know that you know? But it's very difficult, as I said, when you grow up in a place where you become a part of what's here, and now you don't want to let it go. You want to hold on to everything that you have here. You can't give up what you have because you become used to it so much that, it becomes a part of you now. You can't walk away from the society because you believe in the society. So you can't leave the society to say you believe in the Creator no more. You don't believe in Him. You believe more in the society because you're gaining things from the society. So I understand the difficulties ahead, but I'm telling you, you have to wake up because it's gonna come to a end whether you think you're gonna be the one or not. And many of our people will be going down with this place when the judgment arrive. Many of our people who want to be, doubtful about things are going to go down with this place. So I would tell you guys, do your due diligence, man. Figure out yourselves while you can. Teach your children the truth while you can. Save them if you can't save yourself, right? Don't die with the information. Give them the information so they can make a change in their lives and better themselves. It's only the right thing to do. And that's what you guys should do. So I would tell you guys, and next week, we're kind of at the end of the road right now. Next week, we're going to be talking about relationships. So we're not leaving the topic. Right now, we're at episode 14. Since we started out doing the naked truth and discussing this Bible. As I said, it's a vast amount of information that we're going to continue unlocking for you guys. Now, next week topic, we're going to talk about relationship. We're talking about the union between man and woman. We're talking about love, yes. We're talking about affection. We're talking about the reality of having someone and how we view these, this person, this special person that you have in your life, and the purpose of those things. And we're going to bring some light to it and love, the very thing that many people speak about every time, that they love, and the code of relationship. So we're going to talk about that next Friday. I look forward for you guys to tune in and ask your questions as well as we talk about and break it down. As I said, we're not talking about feelings here, so please leave your feelings at home when you're coming here so we can have a decent conversation and you can ask your questions and we can, relate to whatever it is and we can discuss it. So next Friday, we'll be talking about that. Everything to do with love, man. We're going to be discussing that next Friday here on The Naked Truth. I want you guys... who, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you guys can do so. Please do so, because it's going to be very important for us to continue to give you, a better and better content. So please do subscribe, and please leave your comments. If you do go back and listen, and there's something that you want to ask, please do that. Ask your questions or leave it in the comment, and we will respond to you when we get back here. So thank you guys for tuning in with me, for sitting with me, and we're reasoning together here. I appreciate your time. There's a new program coming up, or there's a program coming up after this, ATO Entertainment. Again, it's all about music, entertainment here, supporting the community. So, we're going to... ATO is going to start right after this. So you guys can stick around and tune in and hope you enjoy the entertainment, right? So don't go anywhere, just stick around. And we thank you guys for everything. And much love, respect, honor unto you guys, man. And may the Most High bless you and you're going out and you're going in. And we will see you again here next Friday as we come back with more truths, right? More naked truth here for you guys on The Naked Truth. So bless up yourself and have a wonderful weekend until next time. We'll see you. Do stay tuned for ATO that will be coming up next. So I hope you guys can stick around and enjoy that entertainment. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you next Friday.